Welcome to the Travato. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to make it work. Go ahead and open your door. One of the funnest parts of this Travato is it's got an electric awning. Make sure whenever you're using it that it's not in windy conditions. You're not leaving the rig while it's open because the wind will tear it off. It's an expensive awning, and it's so easy to go in and out. Just push the button and make it go out whenever you leave the rig. If you zoom in over here, you got a switch. You got the awning out, and you've got the awning in. You can stop it at any point by hitting the other side, or you can just hit it out, and it'll just go out. You also have an awning light, which I'll turn on right now, same place. This tree might be in the way, so I'll just keep an eye out, and I'll stop it before it hits the tree. Otherwise, it automatically tracks. Okay. Down here, there's two buttons. There's a coach on-off battery, and there's a step in-out battery. The coach on-off turns off every bit of power to the rig. So if you lose all power, check this first. It's on at this point. It's just a little rocker switch. Go ahead and make the step go out. Make sure it's retracted before you start driving. It does have safety features, but just make sure it's retracted. Come on in. So here's the inside of the rig. Your TV runs off of 12 volts. So you have two different power sources. You have 12 volt, which is car power, and then you have house power, which is 110 volt. House power is going to run your microwave, and it's going to run your air conditioning. House power only works when A, you're plugged into a power source like a house or an outlet plug, or B, you're running the generator. I'm going to go ahead and start the generator, that way everything's running in the rig. So right now we're running off of 12 volts, so everything's running off of 12 volt. I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button and just let it do its system. You'll hear it start up in a second. Okay, so that once that's running, it's going to run again your microwave and your air conditioning system. We'll kind of come back to this in a second. Your TV is always, there it goes ahead and starts. Your TV, just pull it out. You'll have a remote behind it. There's a couple little switches. Number one says TV. That gives you your TV power. This is your antenna power. There's a little button right here. This powers your antenna. So if you're gonna be running off of antenna, hit that button. Down below, if you wanna play your PlayStation or plug in any sort of HDMI, that's where you'll put it. Your remote is up and running. That means your microwave is working. You'll see the digits. Okay, walking through, stereo, kind of self-explanatory. This C button right here is the speakers outside. C button turns on the speakers for outside. Okay, let's go back to the system, and I'm just gonna run through the system. Number one, you've got your generator start and you've got your generator stop. I'm gonna go ahead and stop so we can hear each other. Then you've got your meter. Give it a second for it to stop. Your tank level, that's right, this button right here. You've got your fresh water, it's 2/3 full. Your LP, which is your gas, your propane, it's a half full. Your gray tank, which is your shower and your sink, it's empty. Your black waste tank, which is your toilet, is empty. That's the battery, that's the tank level. Battery level shows you your chassis battery, that's to run the engine, and your house battery, which is the batteries for everything inside the rig. Here's where you turn on the water pump. Now it's on. You'll hear a little humming noise when it's filling up the tanks. There's also another switch on the very back, which I'll show you, that does the same exact thing. It's a two-way switch. This you won't touch. This is your solar charger. It's charging your batteries all the time whenever the sun. You don't touch anything. You see right now it's charging, and it's got the power button. Don't turn it off. Don't play with it. You're fine. This is, the information is just telling you when your generator is running. Okay, so here is your gas. This turns on your propane. You need your propane to run your refrigerator. You need your propane to run your heater, and you need your propane to run your stove. This is how you turn on this switch. It's LP on, propane on. There is another switch right by the propane tank that we normally leave on. However, if this isn't working, you would probably want to go out. If your stove's not working when this is on, it's probably the switch that's outside that's not on. All right, here we go. Let's go to this switch right here. So you got a lot of settings on this one that can get kind of confusing. See the little guy? That is your heater on the inside of the rig. This one here is your water heater. This one actually changes if you want to use propane, but we're always using propane. And then this is your fan speed. So we're going to run through it really quick. So this is your inside heater. It runs off of propane. You're going to press it. It's right now it's off. I can turn it to whatever temperature I want, and then I press it again, and now it's set at propane. I'll run over to the water heater. It's hot right now. You can go to eco, which is a little more battery saving, or you can go off. We're going to go ahead and put it to hot. And we're going to go over here. You never really need to do that because it's really just gas. And then you're going to go over to here, and I normally just leave it. Oh, I'm sorry. You going? Gas. And then you're going to go over here for your fan speed, and you can go high speed, eco speed. There's just 2 levels on that. Okay, that's all you should do. Now, we've had a situation where the propane got low, something happened, and we couldn't get the propane to work for the stove. We couldn't get the propane to work for anything. Just hold this button down for a few seconds, and the whole system should turn off. All right, and again, I will hold it down, and the system should turn. Oh, it's still turning off. And I just turned it on. And again, we're set at 51. If you want to change it, you just run it to where you want it, and then you press in, and it's set. That's it. So you've got, I think that's all of the controls. This fan right here, self-explanatory. It's a remote control for up in here, your vent. This works off of 12 volt. This is really good to get some heat out of here if you want the AC to be running. If you don't have the AC, it's a real good way to get the air to go through the system. Okay, so that's that. We got this, we got this. All right, let's talk about the refrigerator. The refrigerator has 3 settings. The refrigerator has propane, it has battery, and it has plug. Obviously, plug is when you're plugged into your generator, or you're plugged into a house or a outside plug. And I'm going to show you how to set that all up. You've got your battery, that's going to run off of 12 volt. But remember, 12 volt's going to run the system really low, and you don't want that because everything's running off of 12 volt. Okay, so we're going to have it set on propane. It's already running, and if you look here, right here, it's in the green arrow area. It's in the green. See the little. So you got propane here and you got propane here, it's in the green. So this is how you set it for, actually I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. Okay, so now it's running on battery, right? So this may be when you're driving, you may have had it setting on battery, and you see this is in the white area right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it to propane. It's still in the white area. You're gonna set this, you're gonna turn this up high, you're gonna push it in, and you're gonna hit this, and you're gonna hold it in, and see, it's going into the green, and when it goes in the green, you release it and it'll stay in the green. Now you may have to push this a bunch of times, 2 seconds, again 2 seconds, again 2 seconds, while you're pushing this in until it starts to make that thing move into the green area. And that's it. Your freezer is up here. Your refrigerator is down here. I'm running on propane. As long as you have propane at 12 volt, you're gonna be running the whole entire time. Stove. We've got the gas running. I'm gonna light it. I'm gonna put it to light. I'm gonna push it in. I'm gonna hit this button, and it's gonna light right up. Let it run for a little bit while you're pushing in, and then you let it go, and then you can control it. Very simple. Do not use this for heating. It's unsafe. It leaves propane in here, and it can be very unsafe, so make sure you're using this for the heating system over here. Okay, this hot water, cold water. Remember, I set up the hot water on that Truma system over here. Basically, you pull it up, and you've got hot and cold water. Now, one thing to be aware of, I don't know if I'll be able to do it here, but you zoom in on this real quick. A lot of people make this mistake. They left this little lever all the way up, and they closed it, and watch. It turns on the water. So when you do close it, make sure it's over to the side. Pretty self-explanatory. You've got your light switches here for inside and outside. And that's about it. So let's go off into the shower area. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Hot and cold water. When you have the hot and cold water running, you'll pull this, and that will make the shower start working. And you've got a little power on, power off right here with the shower. I want to zoom in on this. When you're running the shower, you'll want this shower drain turned on, because that's going to pull the water out of the shower down here. So when you're showering only, put that shower drain on. Sometimes when you're running this sink and you're running this sink, you may still have to put the shower drain on if you start to see some things back up. Toilet. Toilet's pretty self-explanatory. This is the, let me get down here, this is the fill. You're gonna fill it up this way by pushing on this button with your foot. And when you're doing number 2, you'll fill it up halfway and do your number, and then push it down all the way with your foot, and it's gonna empty. Very simple, very easy. Well, that's the rig. Welcome to the outside of the rig. I'm just gonna do a quick walk around. The step is out. Make sure it's in when you're driving. This, do not touch this, please. I will do this for you. This is part of what you're paying for when I'm doing the sanitation on before your trip. Don't fill the water. Do not use this side for water. It's a weird side for water anyways. There's no reason for you to use that. You won't use this. You may use this one to plug in a 12-volt cigarette charger, or to plug in your antenna, maybe for like an outside TV. These are the plugs. These will only be working when you're plugged into house power or the generator is running. Let's go on to the back. Continuing around the rig, you also have a back pressurized water sprayer. Remember I said there was a second switch? Here's your second switch. See how it's lit up right now, so your water's on. You can also turn it off. Okay, so you would plug this in with the water pump on, and you're gonna have full pressurized water here. When you empty it, just go ahead and hold the lever and let the water go out. That way there's a little less dripping when you put it in. Store right here. This light switch is for right here. Okay, this one I believe is the side light. Right, is it on? Perfect. All right. Walking around. We don't use this little container because we give you a better dump hose, so it's not in here. This you won't touch, this you won't touch, because that's for the refrigerator. In fact, I can feel the heat because the propane is turned on. Okay, we're gonna go back to the funnest part of RVing. This is the absolute funnest part of the RVing. If you follow my instructions, there won't be an issue. I'm not gonna take off this cap right now, but basically it twists. There's typically a little bit of shower water. The way this rig is set up, there's always some shower water, which is a good point because you always want the shower to be dumped last, because the shower is rinsing out all the yucky that's still in this pipe. So you have 2 valves, and if you go down lower, you can see black and you can see gray. This is your gray, this is your black. It says it right above it. Basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to pull this lever and you're going to pull it straight out. Make sure this is hooked in. You've got your hose goes all the way to the dump, and you've got something over the top of the hose so it doesn't pop out when it's hooked over here at the dump. You're gonna twist this off. You may have some shower water that's pouring out. Make sure these valves are closed before you open that. Twist it off, put on the new one. You're gonna pull your toilet water, and with this rig you actually hit this button, and that's actually a pump because it has to pull it from the other side of the rig. So when you open this, you may have some residual that's coming out, but then you're gonna press this button and watch until it's totally empty. Then you're gonna close this valve by pushing it all the way in like it is now, and then you're gonna do the same thing with the gray. You're gonna pull the gray all the way out, pull it straight out, and then again you're gonna press the button until you hear no water or you see no more water coming out. Unhook it and plug it back in. This is for the generator exhaust. You don't do anything, but if you have the generator, just be prepared that it's going to be hot. Okay. All right, last little bit. I'll show you the few things. This, you're not gonna do anything, but do watch out. There's heat. This is for your furnace, for keeping you warm, so it can get hot, so just be prepared for that. Okay, so this is your plug. This is the plug, and there's a wire in the back, and you're just gonna plug it, twist it on, and that's how you're gonna get your house power. So no generator, plug it into a receptacle, and now you're gonna have full power. It's gonna be charging your batteries, your AC will work, your microwave will work, and it's just gonna give you a little more power for your pumps and all that stuff. So that would be how you do your main power. Going back over here, you have your city fill and you have your tank fill. This is your city fill, and your city fill is how you're gonna get pressurized water that goes through the whole system. You're gonna have your hose from like a spigot, and it goes into here, and that gives you full pressure. Now when you have that on, make sure you don't have the pump on in the inside, because you don't need a pump anymore because you have the pressure from the city. The tank fill is right here. Do not leave the rig while you're filling the tank, because you want to be looking around, making sure there's no leaking, there's no hoses that are turned on, anything like that. You want to be hearing it filling. As soon as it's done filling, please close it, because you can overpressurize the system and cause flooding on the inside. So this is to fill the tank, so you have tanks. When you're driving around, you can use the toilet, you can use the showers. City fill, tank fill. Propane. If you're on a large trip, or if for some reason you pick it up with low propane, this is where you would fill up the propane. You can go to any gas station that has propane fill, and they'll know exactly how to fill that up. You don't touch anything there. The gas station will do that for you. That's the rig.